Thank you all so much for being here. There are some seats. I know some folks are standing back there. That's fine if you're comfortable. There are some seats up here. We've got a full auditorium today and a full auditorium, it looks like, at the Dubois Center. So we are now back for the start of fall semester. My name is Blaine Brownell. For those of you who don't know me, I'm very lucky to be the director of the School of Architecture and want to welcome you all of you who are new, and welcome back, all of you who are returning. It's great to see all of your faces here and to see the faces that I can see, at least from behind, in the Dubois Center. So without further ado, I'll just get started with some introductions and welcomes. And I can get this going. So I want to first welcome our new and returning fall part-time faculty. So, and I'm going to move this so that we can actually see everyone listed here. So Sarika Merchant is our teaching fellow in first year studio. She will be joined by Devin Pena, Arturo Lujan, and Alex Cabral in first year studio. And in second year studio, Michael Southard and Carol Bacon. And in third year studio, Kuniko Buford and Lauren Bartlett. Please welcome them. And second slide of new and returning part-time and guest faculty, Robbie Sachs in our fabrication lab. He's our manager. Will be teaching Introduction to Physical Crafting. And Topical Studios, we have Manoj Kesavan, Melanie Redrick, and Nick Alt. In Integrated Studios, we have Josie Bulla, David Harrison, and Matt Barnett will be a roving critic. And then in Computational Methods, Nushin Rodnia is returning to her role teaching that class, and Mason Linkston is new. He will be teaching Mass Timber and Architecture. Please join me in welcoming them. So our staff are incredible, and we have a full contingent now of remarkable staff, including our newest addition, Sarah Holt. The second picture there is our new administrative assistant. Please join me in welcoming Sarah. Sarah will be dividing her time between stores at the front desk and in the front office, and also Dubois Center. And current SoA staff include Casey Avello, office manager, Meredith Klaus, academic advisor, Nancy McAnuff, business services coordinator, Bridget Stipasevic, executive assistant. And that first row is folks that are focused on office and business activities. The second row are folks focused on the building and the Fab Lab. Matt Steele, building manager, Alex Cabral, Fab Lab director, and as I mentioned, Robbie Sachs, Fab Lab manager. And I just wanted to say, I have some bittersweet news that Meredith Klaus, our academic advisor, has announced that she will be taking a job at an ed tech startup starting September 1st. We're very sad that Meredith is leaving us. Very happy for her. It's an exciting opportunity. She's been in this position for several years and has done a remarkable job. And we wish her the best of luck. I'd just like to give a round of applause for in appreciation for Meredith. I will really miss Meredith. I have loved working with her. She's done nothing but a fantastic job in so many ways, has gone above and beyond, and we'll miss her. And not that we can replace her in every way, but we will be searching for a successor in her role very soon, and we'll give you an update about that. I also just want to thank our staff. They've done heroic deeds. They've been in the trenches all summer, preparing the building, preparing, everything for your classroom experience, and they're fantastic. And if you haven't met them yet, please introduce yourself. I'm also happy to announce on the faculty promotion side, Mona Azerbaijani was promoted from associate professor to full professor this summer. Congratulations to Mona. And new and returning leadership in the School of Architecture. Thomas Forget will now be the associate director, and he takes over from Emily Makash. Emily is moving into the role of graduate program director for the Master of Science degree. So this is a new role that allows one leadership position to oversee the 3 concentrations that we have in the Master of Science degree. Mona is returning in her role as graduate program director, overseeing the Master of Architecture program. And then Peter Wong is stepping into a new role that we're piloting this year of communications director. So if you have thoughts for Peter related to visibility and reputation of the school, social media, website, photography, et cetera, please speak with him about that. Just a quick update about our strategic plan. This is for returning folks as well as for new folks. We have 3 primary goals. You can see them here, focused on the environment, environmental justice, and the use of our physical resources, the promotion of social justice and community health, and design for innovation. I'll follow up with an email with more details so that you don't have to read all of this, but this is just a kind of quick summary of our strategic plan. And recent activity within each goal area appears here. Also, I'll follow up with an email. But last year, we were able to make some advances and activities in each of these 3 goal areas. And subsequent activity that we plan is as follows. So in terms of physical resources and environmental sustainability, I'm now serving on the University Campus Master Plan Stewardship Committee. Very interesting things that the firm has already analyzed about our campus and what we might do in the next chapter of the Campus Master Plan. Continuing our work on Storrs and Dubois Center in terms of facilities, furniture, space use, and upgrades. Goal 2, promoting social justice and community health. We will continue the next phases of an equity audit, student equity, and also mental health survey that we started last year. And also various activities related to global connections and also travel connections have to do with our lecture series that we'll discuss, and also strategic partnerships with other institutions. And on the 3rd goal, we hope to embark upon a search for new faculty in exciting areas. And also this year we have our reaccreditation of our Master of Architecture program. It's an 8-year cycle, and last time we were accredited was 2016, so 2024 will be our next visit. I also wanted to point you to an area of our website. I'll follow up with an email that has to do with what distinguishes us. And this is an important part of strategic thinking that doesn't always get into a plan per se, but it has to do with why are we different? What's special about us? What's special about faculty and student work here, both in the classroom or research labs? And these 6 areas: applied critical history, emergent material practices, regenerative systems design, social justice futures, the computed environment, and the engaged city are 6 areas that I've developed in concert with the faculty and looking at faculty and student work. That these are the things when I go on the road and talk about us, this is kind of the elevator speech, right? What is different about you? What's special? So I won't have you read all this now, but it's on the website, and I'll send a link for you to look more. And I want to say this is adapting. This is an adapting landscape. So there's nothing fixed about these things. And it's exciting that way because as we grow and evolve, our distinctiveness will grow as well. And so now I believe we're going to talk about the lecture series. And there's a video here. While I start this video, I believe there's no sound. I'm going to explain it a little bit and invite Nadia Anderson, who is one of the co-organizers of our lecture series, to talk. New South Meets Global South is the name of the lecture series that Nadia envisioned with Elena Vasquez and Julio Duarte. You can press that and turn it on. Who now they have left to take full-time positions at Umeå University in Sweden. And so Nadia and Mark Manak will be co-organizing this lecture series. I think you just press it. Try it. Well, I'm going to start this video and then we'll troubleshoot. You want to try it? Let me see what this. I think it works now. Yeah. No,
Oh, okay, so this is the microphone. Got it. Sorry, a little not tech savvy enough for this yet. But anyway, I think this first, since we're watching this great animation, I wanted to say that our UNC Charlotte graduate, Jeffrey Ludlow, who is a principal of Point of Reference Studio in Madrid, Spain, has been working with us to develop this. This will have the animation. It will also have a printed poster set for the series, and then there will be printed posters for each one. And the idea is then that you can also cut these maps out and fold them up into little composite globes. The idea being that we're looking at the intersection of the New South and the Global South. And that was a theme that was suggested last year by the former Dean Brooke Miller for this coming academic year. So, no.
might have to click, yeah.
Oh, this one, okay.
But then we go back to the video.
The next slide. All right, no. How do I go to the next
Why
slide?
don't you keep talking and I'll
Okay.
see if I can make this work.
Well, and in working with Julio and Elena over the past year, thank you, Blake. We decided that we need to think beyond just New South, Global South as two categories, and actually where do these topics intersect and where do they meet? And so hence New South meets Global South. And if you're not familiar with the term New South, the image on your left, yes, it's really the area that has been called the New South since post-Civil War, post-Reconstruction. And it was a recreation sort of booster campaign around bringing investment into the former US Confederacy, or sorry, not US Confederacy, that's kind of ridiculous, Confederacy, and rethinking about the South as an economically productive region. But built into that is an implicit, sometimes less implicit idea about maintaining racial structures through things like Jim Crow laws, property restrictions, etc. And then the Global South, the other graphic is, which comes from the architect Teddy Cruz, is about this idea of a political equator that doesn't correspond exactly to the geographic equator, and is really about where power and capital has been held in the north, and then colonization and exploitation of resources has been located primarily in the south. And this talks about the migration of people, the migration of resources, climate change being, yet one of the more recent phenomenon. And so the set of terms that cross those are just some of the ideas about concepts that relate to both the New South and the Global South, where we can think about those intersections. Okay. There we go. All right. And in coming up with this, we tried to look broadly for speakers who would work across scales and also across topical areas or types of work. So we have people from not only architecture, but also landscape architecture, planning, industrial design, and some of whom do more than one of those things. And this is just a little bit of a diagram about some of the topical areas and then how different people are cross-associated with typically, and some of them associate with maybe 3 or 4 of these areas, but this is just looking at a couple of them. So no matter what scale of design work you're looking at, for example, right now, or that you think you're particularly interested in, hopefully there are all of the different talks will, be of interest. And these are also primarily going to be held at 2 o'clock. So it will overlap with studio time again, so that we can get everybody in the room. And if the lecture is held here at Stores, there will be a corresponding simulcast at Dubois Center and vice versa. So, and some of the locations, we're still figuring those out. And we're also going to try to create some opportunities for interaction with speakers outside of just the formal lecture times that will be hopefully crossed. So not just class visits, but other kinds of things that can engage those who are really interested. And our first speaker, who is Juan Carlos Cristaldo, I'm going to have to refer to my notes here, is going to be coming on the 27th of September. And he is, he is the Director of Research for the Faculty of Architecture, Design, and Art at the National University of Asunción in Asunción, Paraguay. So he's coming to us from Paraguay. And then he's also the co-founder of Exponencial SA, which is an urban systems consulting firm, and the CIDI at the University in Asunción, which is a research center. And I wanted to add this. We'll be having more information with websites and that kind of thing online and in physical form in the future. But Juan Carlos is an example of someone who's working at multiple scales and has talked about infrastructure as a catalyst for change. So in this example, there's mapping research that involves infrastructure at a large regional, sometimes transnational scale, but then also industrial design. And in this case, this is a bicycle vehicle for recycling. And so both using recycled materials and then for collecting recycled materials and incorporating that into civic infrastructure. So he will be a great example of this kind of multi-scalar approach to current important issues.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nadia. And as I mentioned, so Nadia and Mark Manak will be co-organizing the lecture series. If you have thoughts or questions for them, please speak with them. I do want to say there was a little QR code you might have seen flashed by in the video. I'll provide the link to you so that you can actually have a chance to connect to that webpage with more information, including the lecture series description that Nadia drafted. And it's really a profound piece of writing, and I think was a big part of why every single speaker that Nadia, Elena, Julio, and Mark identified that they on their wish list said yes. So I think the lecture series as it was envisioned, and I'd like to think that Charlotte and you all being here were a big part of that attraction to come here. So we're really excited. For those of you who haven't planned a lecture series with 9 or 10 speakers, that's pretty rare to get everyone to say yes, no matter who you are. So we're really excited for this thought-provoking series of talks. And as Nadia mentioned, most of these will be during studio time. We want to respect your time outside of class. We know you're all super busy. Some of you have part-time jobs and everything and juggling other things. So by integrating these back into class, we want to make it possible for you to fully engage with the series. And then, if there's inspiration, hopefully from these lectures, you can take to studio and your other classes. You have a full chance to do that. Field trips. So other opportunities. This is for the year upcoming. On the left of the slide, we have second-year studio is going to Chicago in October, and third-year studio is going to San Francisco. And then in the spring, we typically offer opportunities to go to Seattle and Washington, D.C., and we'll provide more information about those opportunities. And study abroad. This is all for spring or summer. What's currently planned includes the fourth-year experience in Rome and Istanbul, led by Jeff Ballmer. And then Chris Jarrett has proposed a return to Tokyo in summer session 1. And Seiku and Ming Chun have proposed a summer session 1 in both Cairo and Istanbul. Also in the works are a couple of other trips that I'll follow up in email. And just to say that briefly, that in the tradition of the School of Architecture, there's a real passion by the faculty and shared by many of the students that what you learn when you're traveling on faculty-led programs, either domestically or abroad, is really distinctive. It's really special. And I often remember when I've had those opportunities as a student, those moments, even a lot better than the rest of my semester, right? Incredibly memorable and engaging experiences that really help us to grow and transform. So we want to encourage everyone to take advantage of these opportunities. At the same time, we recognize that these have a cost. And so I want to share with you that I and the faculty are working very hard, and we have worked hard, but we're continuing to work hard to reduce the cost to students. We recognize that some of these experiences are more costly than others, and so that's a pledge to you that we're going to continue to work on that, because we want students to be able to participate without significantly adding to an expensive cost of education. So that's an ongoing project, but very exciting trips. I also want to mention our studio culture policy. And this was drafted before my time, but there are principles that endure. Like the themes here: be present, be respectful, be responsible, be smart, and my favorite, be amazing. This is a unique cultural document, policy document to us that was formulated by faculty and students. And it says studio. Some of you may be students in programs that don't have studio. It really applies to all of us. And so I'll be sharing this in an email so you can become acculturated to it. We found that it's especially helpful now that we're fully back, post-pandemic mode, fully back in person and really enjoying and kind of relearning how to work together in physical space, shared space, how important these themes are. So I'll be sharing that soon. And now is the moment when I get to introduce some of our stellar student leaders to talk about student organizations. We're also very fortunate to have several very active and exciting organizations. And I want to share that last spring, our current AIA Charlotte president, Mark Manack, invited students to speak some of these same students to speak on behalf of their organizations at an AIA luncheon. And they were so well spoken, and everyone gave them rapt attention. You know, their organizations are doing great work, and our students, as well, you all are incredibly smart and capable and active and involved, and we want to really encourage that, right, and support that. So you can see the different organizations listed here, and also the current president, or in some cases, I've got spokespeople. For example, when we get to MASS, or Masters Architecture Student Society, Jessie Cart is in Dubois right now. So Nick will be speaking on her behalf, both for MASS and also Women in Architecture Students, which I call WISE, because I like the name, I like the sound of WISE. So with that, I will invite Megan Angel to come up and speak about AIAS.
Okay. Hello. Like Blaine said, my name is Megan Angel, and I'm a current third year here at UNC Charlotte, and I'm going to be your president for AIS this year. So I look forward to meeting all of you and seeing all of you at our events.
Yeah, I think just.
Okay. So first, introductions. I'm your president, and then my wonderful vice president is Elena Jones. If you can raise your hand whenever I say your name. I know you all can't see each other, but you're going to see us one day. And then our treasurer is Tori Hicks. She's the second year. Secretary is Jonah Jones. He's in the front. He's the second year. Historian Sarah Rhodes. She's also a second year over there. Social events director is Ali. I'm so sorry. I do not want to butcher your last name, so I'm not going to attempt. And then we have our web developer, Diego, and he is a current third year. Ali is a second year. Thank you, first of all, to our wonderful second years who stepped up to take positions on our board. So let's give them a hand first. So then our upcoming events. Actually, this Friday, we're going to have our back to school barbecue. This is an annual event that we do every single year. So we would love to see all of you there. Come get food. We play outdoor games. We have beanbag toss. Some people bring like spike ball, volleyball. You can throw softball. It's like a whole event, and it's really fun. And it's really a good first experience, no matter what year you are, to experience that studio culture at the very beginning of the year before we're all really busy. And then next Wednesday, August 30th, right after studio, is going to be our AIS interest meeting. This is where you can come, ask questions, get a more in-depth view of what it means to actually be an AIS member. And you can ask us questions, those of us who are on the board or who are just a member from previous years. Then for our returning people, you all know what this is. It's our Career Expo. This is our biggest event of the whole entire year. This is where students have the opportunity to interview with firms and get that one-on-one contact of what it actually is, to see what a professional life is like and get an interview. And some people actually really do get summer internships or full-time jobs, part-time jobs right after graduation or as a student here. And that will be February 16th. And obviously we'll send out more information about this along the way, because to participate in this event, you can submit a portfolio of your work, and that's how we decide how you get with firms and firms pick you. We'll be in contact more about this. To prepare for this, we offer mock interviews in the past, and then also portfolio critiques by professors, and we also invite firm professionals. So people who are actually possibly going to be at the Career Expo, and then representatives from firms can actually look at your work and give feedback of what they actually want to see. Because, you know, sometimes it's really different from presenting work to your professor versus a professional in the career. And then throughout the year, we love to offer firm tours. This is where you can also get that one-on-one contact of what it's like to be in a professional work environment. And we offer multiple throughout the year due to each firm has a really unique experience. So some firms really have an individual homey kind of office, and some are more corporate. So it's good to see all the different mediums out there. Then one of the funnest events that we started last year, thanks to Rana, is our international potluck. So this is where we get to celebrate all of you as students and your wonderful cultures that you all bring to make you our School of Architecture unique. So we really want to celebrate all of you, and this is where you get to cook food and bring it to the salon, and we get to have a very big, wonderful meal all together. And it's a really great event. And you can see images that we've posted on our Instagram, and it's in the bottom corner too. And then we also have all decided to relaunch our FIMP program. This is our first year mentorship program, and I'll be sending out more information about this later, and there will be signups at the back to school barbecue in a very short term. That this is a kind of like a big brother, little sister kind of scenario where you get to be paired up with an upper year as a second or first year to kind of see and get help, to kind of really get more help outside of just talking to your professors and talking to your peers. I participated in this program as well. That's where I met Jonah. And then I also got paired up with a master's student. So it was a really good experience to get help from talking about professional views because she was working at a part-time job in Uptown. And then it was also really good to talk to a first year because it reminded me of what I needed to remember and to be successful. And then here's just a little bit more information on our Career Expo. It's on February 16th as a reminder. And on average, we have about 55 firms all spread throughout the stores. We take up every single room pretty much that we possibly can to have firms that all of you can interact with. It's a really big day, and you can see the whole entire place is pretty much alive with people. It's a really good day. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Next is Mia talking about freedom by design.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mia Todd, and I'm excited to be serving this year as the director of Freedom by Design. And for those who don't know, Freedom by Design is a student organization that's committed to connecting architecture students with community and service-based activities. This year, we have a really awesome board of a lot of really cool people across, I think, every like academic year, except for first year. So we would love to have some first years join us. In addition to our longer term design projects, which we do throughout the year, we'll do kind of like we'll take on community projects and do them philanthropically for the community. We also host some events, which is a lot of fun. This year, we'll be collaborating with AIAS for the back to school barbecue on Friday. And then we also offer community volunteers days with organizations like Habitat for Humanity and Trees Charlotte. And we are excited to announce, I guess, the second annual Black Line Ball. The Black Line Ball is a formal dance event for SoA students with interactive activities, dancing, and the opportunity to dress up. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year. And black and white attire is encouraged. This year, we're really excited that we are committed to donating half of our proceeds to the Catawba Lands Conservancy. The Catawba Lands Conservancy is a land trust, a nonprofit community-based conservation organization that permanently conserves and manages land for the public benefit of the Southern Piedmont of North Carolina. They are dedicated to saving land and connecting lives to nature. Their 6-county land protection area includes Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, Lincoln, Mecklenburg, and Union counties. The Catawba Lands Conservancy permanently conserves over 190 properties, totaling nearly 17,000 acres of land. That land includes farmland, ecologically rich lands to protect wildlife habitat and local drinking water, and land to provide the public with a direct connection to explore the natural world around them. If any of this sounds fun, we welcome you to join FBD. If you want to help out with the ball, if you want to come to some meetings, if you just want to come to build days, everyone is welcome. And you can contact us or keep in touch about what's going on with us by scanning the QR code up there. And yeah, we welcome anyone to join, any ages, any ability. So come see us.
Yeah. Thanks, Mia. That ball was a huge success last year.
Nice. Hello, my name is Nicholas Petrillo, and I'm the Vice President of the Masters Architectural Student Society. So this club is primarily and really only for graduate students. We do 2 primary events every month, besides this month currently. We do Critical Beer. So what that is once a month, we as graduate students try to go out to a brewery somewhere along the train line, so you don't need a car in order to come. And you don't need to drink beer in order to come, but it's a way for graduate students to meet and connect with one another, since there's a lot of you, and this year especially the graduate students are spread out. So it's really good to just be able to talk to each other and try to connect and see what's working and what's not. The other event we do, if I could go to the next panel, is Critical Mass. Critical Mass, founded in 2002, is a big, basically thesis project presentation. Essentially, what's going to happen is we're going to invite several schools from around the country, such as NC State. I know Yale has come before, and they're going to send one student to pin up in our school, as well as one of you guys will also be voted in to pin up your project and be critiqued by some of our faculty, as well as one distinguished critic. Last year, we had Lydia Calapalotti. She was awesome, great person to meet, but it's basically like you guys have pinups, and I know first years you don't know what I'm talking about yet, and you soon will. But essentially what this is a really big pinup where you get a really intense critique that's fantastic for both your resume and helps you clean up your work to the best it can be. This year, we're currently looking for 3 new officers. The bad part about Mass is a lot of us graduate really fast, so we don't get to have people stick around. This year, we really need a graphic designer, a secretary for writing things down, as well as a treasurer. If you're interested in any of these positions, please contact myself or Jessica, or you can just email this email written on the board.
Great.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick. Nomas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyra, and I am representing NOMAS, the National Organization of Minority Architecture Students. This is our Instagram if you would like to follow us. This is the amazing board that we have this year to help execute what we plan to bring forth to you all, and I'm so grateful to have them. So, who we are. NOMAS was founded by 12 African-American architects who faced discrimination in hostile environments in architecture school, and then graduated and went into the architecture world and was faced with racism and discrimination there, which forced a lot of them to have to start up their own private practices, and they realized this is not fair, so they founded NOMA. So NOMA, the National Organization of Minority Architects, was established in 1971 to eradicate the effect of racism in their profession of architecture. And our founders are the 12 following architects. And so they exist in order to fight discrimination, but also to showcase creativity and excellence in minority communities. And so the ways that we have created to support their legacy as students is at our general body meetings, we're gonna start doing something called Lessons of the Month. As Greg Snyder said to me in my second year, which really stuck with me, he said, architecture is a global enterprise. And we can see that in the school as they push for us to travel a lot. But when you're not going to Tokyo and Rome and San Francisco, we still want you to be proactive about learning the world around you from the people around you. And so some of the topics that our own board members have created seminars on are the Catawba people, the Uyghur architecture, Puebloan architecture, the Harvey B. Gantt Center in Uptown Charlotte, Maui architecture, and Phil Freelon. Some other things that you can look forward to in our meetings is announcement about NOMA exclusive scholarships, especially scholarships that for you grad students cover the ARE exams and materials. NC NOMA community projects, which you can volunteer and sign up for. Events hosted by NOMA, which can expand your horizon and help you network, and then more lessons of the month to expand your architectural knowledge. We also will be doing a community involvement project with Derida Design. So Hashim Halim has created a community studio in order to inspire creativity in the Derita neighborhood. So in the fall, we'll be doing a sweater drive where we'll be collecting sweaters and fleece blankets in order to create socks and mittens for the people in need of Charlotte. And then in the spring, we'll be designing and creating and installing bus benches in the neighborhood of Derita. And then lastly, the way that we want to help you all is student engagement. So we're bringing back our trivia night. And so trivia night is a food and fun-filled night of trivia and free prizes. Free prizes. So these prizes may include studio materials, drawing materials, or even a gift card. And the best part is that you get to choose. So if you come to our general body meetings, you can let us know what you would like to see in the prizes of our trivia night. So if any of these things interest you, if you are an activist, or if you would just like to learn more about what architecture can be, you can join us on Wednesday, September 6th, after studio from 5:45 to 6:30 p.m. in room 225. So if you all know room 290 is the room beside it, but we'll put up signs so that you can find us. Thank you. We would really love to see you all there.
Thank you so much, Nora. And Nejla, I think Nejla and Kaya are downtown. So I'll speak briefly about, they can't speak because they might have thought they could speak, but this is a one-way Zoom. So just to say a little bit about US Green Building Council student organization. The faculty liaison is Kyung-hee Kim, who is also in Uptown right now. But you can see here the team of the student board of the organization. And we have a link. So last year, there were several events that they hosted, including a kind of environmental summit with local practitioners that came together and talked about green initiatives. If sustainable design, green buildings, anything related are of interest, please get in contact with Nejla or Kaya or Kyung-hee or any of the board members. And last but not least, I'll invite Nick back to speak on behalf of Jesse for Women in Architecture students.
Howdy, it's me again. So this is a call for WISE. WISE isn't a fully up and running club yet, so we're looking for both board members as well as general members. And you might be asking, what the heck is WISE? Well, let me explain. So WISE stands for Women in Architectural Society, aka it's a more female focused club. The reason we're trying to get this up and running is because that within the current working force, even though in school 50% of students identify as female, only 17% of licensed architects are female, and only 1% of those licensed architects are women of color. That number hasn't changed. It's not very recent. That number's been a stagnant line. And so what we're trying to do is figure out the disconnect, figure out what's going on, and really start encouraging a more diversity within licensed architects. Which that going on, we have some events going on already this year. Well, I've already explained that. So we have one upcoming brunch panel coming up that's going to be cool. WIA has been very nice to invite us to come on out and have a pretty cool little mimosa hangout. It's $15 for all students to come. Once again, if you can't have a mimosa, that doesn't mean you can't come. Please come out. You also don't need to be a member of us or AIA or anything. It's just come out, have a good time, and just start meeting some of us in this field. I'd also very much like to appreciate the fact that Nadia Anderson is our faculty advisor. So big thanks to Nadia for doing this and helping us get this up and running. And once again, if any of you guys are interested in, taking my place up here talking about it, or just, generally helping out, please contact myself or Jesse or scan this QR code up on the board to help us get this up and running, because We really want to see this become a thing. Anyway, thank you all.
Thanks, Matt. I just want to go back a little bit to say, thank you, Nick. To say this event is pretty spectacular because we get to host Kimberly Dowdell, who's the national president-elect of AIA and a fantastic architect, thinker, and leader. And also, the panelists will include Melanie Redrick and Sekou Cook here from the School of Architecture in Charlotte. So in addition to Dr. Dawn Shanland, I don't know Dawn, but she's Director and Professor of Management at Queen's University. So this promises to be a pretty remarkable event for anyone interested in attending. So I just have a final point about student representatives and then some thoughts to share with you for inspiration before you start your respective studios. The School of Architecture is run not only by administrators and faculty roles and staff and leadership roles, but also by students. We need student leaders, not only in the organizations, but also who represent your respective cohorts, to meet regularly with me and share what's happening in your cohorts and bring important matters to our attention. Sometimes the first time we hear about a problem or an opportunity is from our student representatives, follow up on school initiatives, and also help organize events and be general ambassadors for the school. So these representatives are elected by students. And to help with that, I've identified faculty coordinators in each cohort who can assist with this election. Sometimes, and especially in the introductory years, it's a little hard to self-mobilize, right, without faculty support. In other years, you may be fine just running this whole event yourselves, and you can just coordinate with the faculty member listed. Again, we need 2 student representatives elected for each of the 4 years of undergraduate, each of the 3 years for Master of Architecture, and then for the Master of Urban Design program and Master of Science in Architecture program. And feel free to talk to your coordinators if you have more questions or talk to me. And no prior skill is required. There are no other sort of requirements other than you're really interested in organizational leadership and would like to meet with me a couple times a semester. And sometimes there are initiatives and things that come up that you'll help lead. So I look forward to our next, knowing our next slate of student representatives. I'm hoping that we can carry out these elections very quickly. So, and especially if you're new, not everyone will know each other. So this is very quick just to get this slate of leaders established. If you can conduct your elections this week and report to your faculty coordinators, and then they or you will report to me who your leaders are next week. Okay. We've talked a lot about business and policies and exciting calendar events. And I just wanted to leave you with some thoughts. These relate to my research and interests, but also as I think about our school and our outlook for this year, focusing on the global South, but also global connections in general. So for those of you who know my work, my primary interest is emerging materials and sustainable building technologies. So I'm constantly just very intrigued with innovation that's happening anywhere in having to do with materials. But I want to focus our efforts specifically in just a few slides around some activities happening in the global South. So again, this is going to drill down into a particular focus, which is brick. So like some other common building materials, no surprise, brick as a global traditional building material has a big impact, an environmental impact and a social impact. You can see here, there's some estimates that 2.2 billion metric tons of brick are produced annually that result in over 1 gigaton of CO2 equivalent emissions produced annually. And there are some serious, not only embodied energy impacts, but also human health impacts related to brick processing, especially when we look at kilns in a lot of the global south, specifically in Southeast Asia and parts of Africa. So for example, brick kilns in India contribute 2/3 of the nation's industrial black carbon emissions. So there are rich histories of brick making in these communities, but the way that they're distributed and their manufacturing techniques lead to emissions. So innovations are happening, and there are entrepreneurs leading exciting initiatives to change this, or at least to tackle some of the environmental problems. And so I'm just going to share with you a few examples. Manish Kothari, who's in Gujarat, India, is an entrepreneur that decided to look at using waste plastic, and we have a lot of that, to make new bricks with post-industrial sand. He makes a new kind of brick that's 2.5 times stronger, reportedly, and 1/4 lighter than traditional bricks. So here's another problem. So he's solving one problem. He's able to look at another problem, which is this kind of global scourge of waste plastic. And India alone reportedly recycles less than 1/3 of the waste plastic they produce each year. And we know this is a problem that leads to polluting the world's oceans and waterways, et cetera. Also, there's a whole kind of informal industry of waste pickers that's a very economically precarious segment of society that's kind of grown up around this kind of waste. I'll get back to that in a second. Another Indian entrepreneur out of Kolkata, Abhishek Banerjee, creates a very different kind of new building module that's interlocking like Legos, doesn't need mortar, and half the weight of traditional bricks. Shifting to the African continent in Nairobi, Zambi Meti and Jenge Makers creates plastic and sand pavers to create new alternatives to traditional brick or concrete. These pavers are about half the weight of traditional bricks and up to 7 times stronger than traditional concrete versions. She's doing, and all of these startups are becoming rapidly, they're growing rapidly and being very successful as startups. And then another example from Africa, out of Ghana, Nelson Boateng started Niplast Eco to do something very similar. His pavers, like the brick example, are interlocking, thus requiring no mortar, and they're cost effective as well. And I want to say in these examples, and I'll choose this one in particular, Niplast Eco works directly with informal waste pickers to create a more stable and regular and predictable income for this very kind of precarious group, and most of them are women. So there are 2 major environmental problems being solved. Brick emissions and embodied energy, if you kind of combine that as one, and plastic waste is another, and then you have the kind of social and economic side of the kind of precarious working group that's being supported. These are just some examples. I went deep into brick and these brick-oriented firms just to show you, just within one very sharpened kind of focus, you can find incredible innovation happening, even within that small segment. Imagine when we widen the lens, what we find when we look across many material segments, be it bamboo, rammed earth, ceramics, or even textiles. And the ink here is made from automobile pollution that's been sort of condensed and encapsulated to use as ink. So really super interesting innovation happening all across the global south, and in some ways outpacing, and both in terms of the richness of ideas and the number, the innovation that we have in this part of the world. And so a couple of lessons I wanted to share with you as we start to look beyond our own community at other cultures and communities is, first, sometimes there's an unconscious bias that we in this part of the world bring to subjects in other parts of the world, other less developed parts of the world, like the ones I've discussed. But that unconscious bias is dangerous because it limits not only our learning, but also it's very elitist, right? And the reality is that there's incredible innovation happening. We just have to look for it and we can learn from it, right? Just not always have that attitude like, oh, we'll go to these countries or cultures to teach them. Most of the time it's the opposite, right? What can we learn from them? And the other lesson for all of us is just to think about, no matter where you are, where you're from, what kind of innovation can you bring to your work that might have really pragmatic goals in mind and material, like tangible material ideas. Because as Zombie Mati says, plastic waste is not just a Kenya problem, it's a worldwide problem. So a lot of these ideas are universally applicable, although we need to respect the cultures and the authorship, the source of the authorship. At the same time, we share a lot of these problems like the climate emergency, biodiversity loss, resource depletion, et cetera. And we also can share ideas about innovation and creativity. And that's part of what we're trying to do with global and also domestic and local engagement opportunities for all of us is to share those innovative ideas. And so I'll leave you with this picture of it's a building clad and repurposed plastic baskets as a filtering screen. I think this is pretty innovative way to use a cheap off-the-shelf or out of the waste material. But with this in mind, I conclude our convocation, and I'm so happy that you've joined us. I'm so happy that you're all here in the School of Architecture. Just a quick announcement to say, you all know that we are named after David Raven, and I have a special gift for you to announce that David has generously funded, which is t-shirts. And so they're new t-shirts, and the t-shirts have been designed by our very own Matt Steele, building manager and artist. So t-shirts will be located on the counter behind for those who are in stores. And I think at Dubois Center, there are some. If someone doesn't get a t-shirt, please contact Casey. And there might be photographers out there as well. So enjoy that, but have a great year and good luck.